This morning at 10:58 a.m., Hartford police received a 911 call regarding a domestic incident at 422 Garden Street, second floor. The initial information that we obtained was that it was a domestic involving an individual with a knife. The person that called was a third-party caller. It was not the suspect or the victim in this case. Two patrol officers were immediately dispatched and responded within 2 minutes to this location. They went to the apartment at 422 Garden Street, apartment 2. They are immediately confronted with an irate individual. The individual was armed with a knife. You could clearly hear the Hartford police officers pleading with the suspect over the radio to drop the knife several times. With that being said, obviously more patrol officers as well as supervisors immediately tried to respond to the scene. An officer in trouble tone was signaled throughout the whole city, which all officers that are available responded, including supervisors, our major crimes division and crime scene division. Officers relayed that it was an officer-involved shooting at the time. A single individual, male, was shot. He was immediately transported to St. Francis Hospital. He is in a critical condition right now and in surgery. The two patrol officers that responded, they were not injured, but they were taken to St. Francis Hospital for evaluation, which is obviously common practice. It's obviously a very stressful situation, and they need to get assistance as they can as well. So the Connecticut State Police, as well as the State's Attorney's Office, was immediately notified of the officer-involved shooting, which is common practice. They responded. They are here right now assisting us with the investigation. At this time, I do not have the suspect's name, and we'll release that information as soon as it becomes available.
And you said it was a domestic incident between a male and female inside the apartment?
I don't know if it was male and female, but it did come in as a domestic incident. There was witnesses to the incident. They were transported to the Hartford Police Major Crimes Division, where they will be interviewed by the Connecticut State Police Central District Major Crimes.
How dangerous is it for officers to respond to domestic violence incidents?
It is. Any domestic violence incident, it's one of the leading cases of officer injuries and fatalities in the country, aside from motor vehicle collisions. So yeah, it's a high-stress situation. The officers are trained as best as they can to deal with scenarios such as this. Now you're talking into a kind of a compartmentalized situation, a small apartment. There's a lot of clutter in there, so the officers don't really have much room to maneuver around and whatnot. So yeah, it's tremendously dangerous. And you throw a knife into the mix, obviously it just elevates to a whole different level.
Kids involved?
At this time, it does not appear there was any children inside the apartment or around the apartment at the time. The whole apartment building, I believe there's 6 units, has been cleared out, and officers are speaking to witnesses in the building, as well as people that were in the apartment at the time.
Chief and mayor coming?
The chief of police, I've been in contact with him and the mayor's aide. I believe one of them at least is en route right now.
Can you elaborate on the knife situation? Was the suspect threatening the victim, or was the suspect lunging at the officers?
We haven't talked to the officers yet. Like I said, they're at the hospital right now. The investigation is very preliminary in the infancy stages right now. Obviously, this is a scenario that we're going to take nice and slow and be as thorough as we can. And Connecticut State Police will be providing their investigation as soon as it becomes complete.
Did you hear the audio?
I did not hear the audio.
But you heard it's good?
Yes, I talked to the dispatch supervisor as well as officers that were on scene. The shift commander, I talked to her specifically. She gave me information in regards to it as well.
You think you'll get that out?
It'll probably come out relatively soon, I would suspect.
Were the officers doubled up in the car?
No, there were 2 patrol officers that were assigned districts relatively close to this area of the city, and they were dispatched.
Knife recovered?
I did not go into the crime scene. I do not know if there was any recovery of any weapon. I looked inside, and it was very, very cluttered.
Do you have information on the officers, how long they've been on the force, if they've been involved in officer-involved shootings before?
I don't know. I know that the 2 officers are both veterans. They're both very highly respected. One individual has been here for probably over 10 years, and I think the other one probably about 14 years or so. So they're going to be EAP, Employee Assistance Program, we have to monitor them and watch after them and give them any information or any counseling that they may need as well.
You say they were heard pleading with the guy that dropped the knife. That was over the police airwaves?
That came over the radio broadcast, over the police scanner, yes, the radio. Yes.
And that gave it a 10-0?
I believe the dispatcher hit a 10-0 at that point. I don't believe it was called after they determined it was an officer-involved shooting.
No body cameras, right?
No body cameras.
And obviously extremely scary, and both sides of the fence with everything that happened with Jill Kiddick and the knife situation back in May.
It is. That's still a fresh wound. We still think about that, and the officers, they come into the city every day, put their uniform on, and they know the risks, they assume the risks, and you get dispatched to a call like this of this magnitude of domestic, which is dangerous enough, and now you throw a domestic with a knife, and then when you hear the officers pleading with somebody to drop the knife, it brings elevates everybody's heart rate considerably.
Do you know anything about the suspect, if he has any priors or his background?
I don't even know the suspect's name at this point. He was transported. There was no ID on him. We're not sure if he was a resident of the apartment. We don't know if he was visiting. We don't know of the exact scenario in regards to him specifically right now. As soon as we get that, obviously, we will notify everybody right away.
What state's attorney is going to investigate this, do you think? I saw Gail Hardy here, but is she going to keep it, or will it go somewhere else?
She's here right now, and she's talking to the Connecticut Central District Major Crimes Division. They will ultimately determine where the investigation is going to go at that point.
Okay.
Sources are telling me that one of the officers was shot in the past. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Were both of them or just one?
Just one.
Is that the one that had to shoot today?
I don't have that information right now. I don't know who discharged their firearm.
Okay.
And it was a third-party caller to report that domestic violence, right?
Yes, it was.
What do you mean by that?
It was neither
He
the
said that at the
victim
beginning.
or the suspect.
Just some
Like a
other
neighbor.
person who was...
May have been a
around?
witness that was in the apartment. May have been someone that heard it coming in.
In the apartment it happened?
It happened inside the apartment.
Okay. It's dangerous.
Lieutenant Cicero, anything that we should be asking we're not thinking to that you can add for us?
No, I think we're good. I think you guys were pretty
What's the next
good
update?
with everything. Next update will probably be in probably about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
We're going to send out a press release shortly.
Thanks, guys. Good job.